Joining us now for more on this legal fight and the crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border is former U.S. Border Patrol Chief Ron Vitiello. He also served as acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement under former President Trump. Ron, thanks so much for being here. Your former boss, Donald Trump, on Wednesday night said that today would be a day of infamy on the border. So far, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, it looks like the numbers are muted today. I was at the border earlier this week, and a lot of the agents that I talked to thought that the surge had already started. Capacities were over. You know, there were a couple of places they were over 100% capacity in the short-term detention that CBP has. The numbers you reported out on for the Rio Grande Valley seem promising. It's still a big problem down there. You know, they said last week 83,000 people were encountered by CBP. That doesn't account for the folks that came to the border who were not seen by law enforcement.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anybody's saying that there's not a problem down there, but it does seem to maybe indicate that perhaps these new rules might work. I mean, the Title VIII rule that says if you cross illegally, you're kicked out and you can't ever come back. Maybe it's working.
It's a good point. Consequences matter. We know from experience, the people on the ground at the front line at DHS know from experience that if you hold people to account for illegal entry or any illegal activity, then you're going to get a lot less of it. So it's a good time to wait and see. I hope it does begin to work at scale because there's lots of folks in the pipeline. You showed in the reporting all those camps on the south side there by Brownsville. It's been a long time since Brownsville was a problem for the Border Patrol. They've got a lot of technology there, a sufficient number of agents. It just wasn't a place where the smugglers chose to cross large numbers of people. But the last couple of weeks, it's been a challenge for them.
Ron, former President Trump also said that he would be in favor of separating children from their parents at the border as a way to discourage families from trying to enter the country. That's if he gets reelected. Do you think that's a good idea, having been in charge of this whole process?
Well, we tried that before. It wasn't messaged properly. It was very confusing. It was very chaotic. And so if I was advising him now, I would look at all of the other tools that were on the table, some of the tools that this administration, the current administration, had at their disposal. I would go in those directions first.
Not on family separation.
No, it was. We lost the trust of the American people when that happened, so there's no reason to go over that ground again.
So far, it looks like many of the migrants are trying this app or waiting to apply for official entry. Biden has taken a lot of criticism for not doing enough on the border. Do you think these new these centers, processing centers that he wants to open up in Colombia and Guatemala, which, by the way, aren't even open and operational yet, is that a plan that might work down the road?
I'm not sure. There's a lot that has to be in, the conditions on the ground, what happens. I mean, you think about, somebody crossing from Venezuela through and coming into Colombia and going to the processing center. They've promised a smuggler thousands of dollars to get all the way to the U.S. border. They're going to walk into the center. They're going to wait in line. They're going to get a determination. And if they're told no, they're already away from home. They're already in debt for thousands and thousands of dollars. We need a situation to keep people out of the pipeline, and processing centers that are not in the country where most people are fleeing from doesn't seem to me like the way it's going to be fixed.
The GOP border bill that just narrowly passed yesterday in Congress, 2 Republicans voted no because of the requirement that employers have to e-verify that their workers are here legally. I'm sure you know this. Half of all the produce grown in this country is picked by undocumented workers. Is this e-verify rule going to put many farmers out of business if it ever were to pass? It doesn't look like it will, but if it were?
E-verify is a system that helps support the rule of law that says you can't have a job in the United States if you're not here legally. So having a mechanism that allows employers and employees to use that system, I think, is useful. And farmers, for the most part, are pretty resourceful people. If they need their crops picked, they're going to find a way to do it. There's a way to do it, with machines. Maybe they have to look at the wages. It doesn't have to be that people are in the United States illegally just to do those jobs or any other job.
All right, Ron Vitiello, it's a complicated issue down there with lots of different sort of effects. We appreciate you coming on the show tonight to talk about it all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.